Okay, let's talk the theft crimes. Okay, first of all, if you see a weapon in the facts, remember that can be aggravated and that will be sentencing enhancement. Any use of a weapon, particularly a deadly weapon, will bump up these charges to aggravated larceny, aggravated robbery, and will result in that's right, sentencing enhancement. We discussed larceny in detail, unlawful and or trespassory taking and carrying away of personal property of another with intent to steal, including continuing trespass. Doesn't initially intend to steal, later intends to keep. And we discussed that a taking involved dominion and control and carrying away, meaning any movement. And we also discussed the defenses: no intent, intent to return, claim of right. Okay, there are other defenses too, but let's move on to larceny by trick. One extra element here: possession, not title. Larceny by trick is possession, not title. The unlawful, trespassory, taking, and carrying away of personal property of another by material false statement, lies, that induces reliance. And what is our intent? To steal. Okay, larceny by trick. Someone acquires possession by a false statement that induces reliance. Larceny by trick, we're talking about possession. Next up, false pretenses, we're talking about title. Let's go through false pretenses and then we'll go back to the two. False pretenses is acquiring title to another's property by material false statement. Acquiring title to another's property by material false statement. That is the crime of false pretenses. We get title to the car, title to the watch. Okay, title to the house, false pretenses. It's always title. On the bar, they love to test you on the difference. Whereas larceny by trick, we get possession by a false statement, a lie. Okay, so larceny by trick, possession. False pretenses, we're looking for title. Okay, unlawful or trespassory taking. What is a taking? It's exerting dominion and control. Carrying away. What amount of movement is sufficient? Any amount of movement. The personal property of another by, that's right, false statement. False statement. Okay, and so we're getting possession. We are not getting title to the property. Okay, so our defense to larceny by trick could be some sort of mistaken opinion. The statement wasn't false. And our other defenses to larceny, they didn't have the intent to steal. They had the intent to return. They have a claim of right to the property. And there's remember, some sort of reasonable mistake of fact or opinion. And false pretenses is what? Acquiring title to another's property by, that's right, material false statement. Okay, remember, if there's no mens rea, recklessness is implied. False pretenses, we have an intent, and that's scienter, which is knowledge of its illegality. Okay, so false pretenses, acquiring title to another's property with knowledge by material false statement. Okay, let's go into robbery. Unlawful, trespassory taking and carrying away of the property from another's presence by imminent force or threat of force. Okay, remember, larceny merges into robbery. Therefore, if you attempt a robbery, you might get larceny as a lesser included offense. But if you complete the robbery, do you get larceny too? No, they merge. Okay, so let's go through the elements. Unlawful or trespassory is the same. Taking, exerting dominion or control, carrying away any movement. And then we have to have another's presence. imminent force or threat of force, by force or threat of force. Okay, how much force are we talking about? Slight force is okay. And how about threat? Fear. It has to put the victim in fear. No fear, no robbery. Okay, imminent force or threat of force. So if there's no fear, there's no robbery. Little tiny bit of force, that's okay. And remember, larceny merges into robbery. Larceny will be a lesser included offense, but you cannot be convicted of both. Okay, and again, the bar loves to test this. Now let's go to embezzlement, which is a little easier. So the defendant is, that's right, lawfully entrusted with the victim's property, fraudulently converts it to his own use with intent to steal. Embezzlement, defendant does what? Well, he's lawfully, that's right, entrusted with the property, and he does what? Fraudulently converts it to his own use with intent to steal. Okay, I saw a conversion question on the MBE in property. So I want you to remember that conversion, the remedy for conversion is fair market value at the time of conversion. So he converted it to his own use, right? What's the value? It's the fair market value at the time of the conversion, or the fair market value at the time the property was embezzled. And remember, you can have an intent to restore, but it has to be the same property, the same dollar bills, the actual same property. So you do have a defense of intent to restore, but it has to be the same property. Our other defense to embezzlement is, of course, that's right, claim of right. Okay, so embezzlement. What are our elements? The defendant did what? He was lawfully entrusted with the property, fraudulently converted it to his own use with intent to steal. And what's the value? Value at the time of conversion, fair market value at the time of conversion. And what are our defenses? Claim of right, intent to restore the same property. Okay, receiving stolen property. The defendant knowingly received or retained possession of the property that he knows or reasonably should know was stolen. The defendant knowingly received or retained possession of property which he knows or reasonably should know was stolen, and he has the intent to steal or to keep the property. Okay, 1, knowingly received, or 2, retained possession of property, meaning he exerted what? Dominion and control. And he knows, or that's right, reasonably should know it was stolen, and has the intent to steal or keep the property. Okay, no defenses there. Final common law crime, forgery. Defendant materially alters a document of apparent legal significance to be false. Let's repeat that. The defendant, that's right, materially alters what? A document of apparent legal significance to be what? False. Guess what? If it's not a real legal document, it's not a forgery. If it's not a legal document, it is not forgery. Therefore, forgery of art doesn't count. If it's not a legal document, it's not forgery. What is forgery? The defendant does what? Materially alters a document of apparent legal significance to be false. If it's a fake legal document, is it a forgery? No, it's not a legal document. Okay, one last crime, and that's our MPC theft. The MPC makes theft by unlawful taking or disposition. MPC theft is simply theft by unlawful taking, or disposition. The MPC also recognizes larceny, larceny by trick, false pretenses, and embezzlement. Okay, let's quick go through those theft crimes one more time, and we're going to randomize them now. Okay, robbery, unlawful and or, that's right, trespassery taking, and that's right, carrying away of the property from another's presence by force or threat of force. How much force is okay? Just a little. You have to put the victim in fear, no robbery. Larceny, unlawful, trespassery taking, dominion or control, and that's right, carrying away of the personal property of another with intent to steal. And remember, this can be direct or indirect, including continuing, that's right, continuing trespass. You don't want to steal it, but later you decide you're going to keep it. Okay, false pretenses. Acquiring what? Title to another's property by material false statement with knowledge. False pretenses is always title. Embezzlement. The defendant was, that's right, lawfully entrusted with the victim's property and fraudulently converted it to his own use with intent to steal. What's the value of the property? Fair market value at time of conversion. Okay, what's our defense to embezzlement? Intent to, that's right, restore or claim of right. Intent to restore has to be the same property. Okay, MPC theft. Theft by, that's right, unlawful taking or disposition. Larceny by trick. Unlawful trespassery taking and carrying away of the personal property of another by what? False statement. We get possession, not title. And it must induce reliance. This false statement must induce reliance. Okay, forgery. Materially altering a document of what? Apparent legal significance to be false. Not legal, not a forgery. Okay, and I believe that's it. We did them all. Larceny, larceny by trick, robbery, MPC theft, false pretenses, embezzlement, receiving stolen property, and forgery.